I look forward to having you in our next unit for grade 10. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rex Lita with the Midday News. The largest container ship ever received in PNG and the Pacific Islands region was received by the South Pacific International Container Terminal in Lae last week. With a carrying capacity of 2,742, the GSL Elizabeth was on shore with an overall length of 221 meters and is part of PWX's weekly service of Swire shipping line. Also, in addition to being the largest international container ship in the country, it is quite significant to highlight that GSL Elizabeth is a gearless vessel. This means that a gearless vessel is a ship without cranes and thus fully relies on shore-based equipment and its ports of call to load and unload cargo. The General Manager Commercial for ICTSI South Pacific stated that SPIC's achievement indicates the confidence in their service delivery and is aligned with the recent investment in pursuit of their vision. Kandap district in Anga province is breaking new ground with its inaugural Wage Cultural Show set to take place in December 2024. The event, endorsed by the National Cultural Commission, aims to foster unity among lower, middle and upper Wage communities which have historically faced challenges like lawlessness. The show's significance lies in its ability to connect not only the people of Kandap but also neighboring provinces, Hela, Southern Highlands, effectively transcending borders. The initiative underscores the NCC's commitment to making culture accessible and its role in cultivating social cohesion. As anticipation building, Kandap district eagerly awaits the transformative cultural celebration ahead.
Because as you plug an RM na looking lo newspaper na anyway that Kandap man place him sagadim plenty of legendary story na tundagan na sample gold one na nampodem sa staff so as so come and blaba karimo tourist ko na empire make him interest online lo make him multi effect na all sample bilum number na all baksi man at the same time main name lo mibla lo solving trouble warfare na bringing peace come lo community na province na district lo mibla. Thank you Natural Cultural Commission once again lo giving mibla so na support lo look saver lo sample people lo wabek na enga na Kandap lo side borab lo tarina ela.
Air Niugini has revealed the Airbus 220-100 and A220-300 as the successor to its Fokker fleet in a move to modernize its aircraft lineup. The announcement came during a press conference where Minister for State Enterprise William Duma shared that the National Executive Council approved the decision. The A220, dubbed the People's Balloons, is praised for its fuel efficiency, increased capacity and comfort. Air Niugini plans to acquire 11 Airbus A220 narrow-body jets and 2 Boeing 787 Dreamliners at a cost of 2.55 billion kina. The A220 is set to join the fleet starting in 2025, marking a significant step in the airline's evolution. In regional news, the federal government has released the first dedicated Aboriginal and Torres Strait Landowners Action Plan to help end gender-based violence. It's been released alongside a 5-year action plan which aims to reduce the number of female victims of intimate partner homicide by 25% every year. Indigenous women are 6% more likely to be victims of homicide due to domestic violence more than non-Indigenous women.
This has been a call that has been heard, finally. We're getting a dedicated plan that recognises the rates of horrific violence that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women in this country endure. Some of the figures that we know, quite conservatively put it, at 3 in 5 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women have experienced physical or sexual violence perpetrated by a male intimate partner. That's the known people who've actually reported this level of violence. So having a standalone action plan for us that takes into consideration all of those matters that lead to this horrific rates of violence against our women is welcome, and I absolutely applaud its delivery today. We have an overarching plan now that needs to work in conjunction with the National Partnership Agreement on Closing the Gap. You have Target 13 that speaks to specifically the reduction of rates of violence against First Nations women by at least 50% as we progress to zero by 2031. So the devil will be in the detail as to how we actually step out and see immediate action in our communities. It's wonderful having these plans. It's wonderful having national consistency, and I absolutely applaud that. But what we need to do is to stop the flow of violence, and it's violence that we see day in and day out in our communities, not only against our women, but also our children who witness the violence, who are also subject to the violence, who then continue the violence coming into the system as offenders later on in their life. We continue to feed a system, and we must go back and address violence at the very heart of it.
The East Safety Watchdog is calling on the tech industry to step up to help stop children bullying others with artificially generated sexual images.
The E-Safety Commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant, says that this month her office has received its first complaints about children using image generators to create sexual images of their peers to bully others. Now, she does say that at the moment those complaint numbers are quite small, and it seems as if these incidents are connected with each other. However, she is very concerned that these numbers will grow, and she says that this could be the tip of the iceberg, particularly as AI-generated technology becomes much more powerful and sophisticated, as well as being widespread. And we've already seen, for example, criminals using AI-generated technology to create child sexual abuse material online, and that makes it really hard for authorities to work out what's fake and in fact to find real children that might be being abused or exploited. She does say, though, that it's important that the industry doesn't ignore what is happening right now, because our collective safety and well-being is at stake if we don't get this right.
Stephanie, what is the E-Safety Commissioner calling for?
Well, she's calling for regulatory scrutiny on the industry to ensure that it really does ramp up those safety mechanisms around AI-generated tools that users might use, like GPT chat, as well as voice or image and video generators. And she says that some of the mechanisms that can be quite simple to be used is, for example, creating a watermark that's either visible or invisible to users, however is actually visible for people that investigate things behind the scenes, to prove that something has been AI generated and isn't in fact real. And a big thing is about those gatekeeping mechanisms to ensure that there's some sort of age identification that creates a barrier for people that shouldn't probably be using some of these facilities getting their hands on them. So, for example, at the moment, a lot of these systems actually simply ask you to put in your birthday, and that's something that is really simple for children to get around. She also wants to see the industry provide regular transparency reports as well in this space. But she does say that she doesn't want to look as if the Commission's office is scaremongering, because AI-generated technology is also potentially going to open up a whole new era of creativity and collaboration. And she does say that it's important to note that AI technology can also be used as an amazing force for good as well, particularly in that space with child sexual abuse material that's online. The AI technology is able to look through systems at a much greater pace and scale than the human eye can do, and that means that it can actually stop some of these abusers in their tracks.
Back home, PNG Power will be undertaking important maintenance work under the Rauna 1 rehabilitation project this weekend. This critical work will involve cutting and blanking of the current shared pipeline between PNG Power Limited and Water PNG after the Rauna 1 and Tree Ahead head pond. This work will begin from 12 midnight Saturday, August 19, 2023 to 12 a.m. Monday, August 21st, 2023. PPL anticipates that it will not affect the PNG power supply in NCD. However, it will affect water supply. A no water notice to city residents to save and store water before Friday, August 18th, as Water PNG will have a limited supply from the intakes of Rauna 4 and Bomana. Kira village in Mosby South gathered around the big screen to cheer on Mary Boyu Fola and the Australian Matildas in the FIFA World Cup semi-finals against England. Fola and her comrades fell short by 2 goals against English Lionesses last night. Even in the losing side, 20-year-old Fola did not fault her foot, and family and fans in Kira were satisfied. The villagers were up early to watch one of their very own make history in football. They maintained support for one of their daughters from start to finish. Here are the highlights of the fan reactions at Matilda's battle against England.
Kerr with a shot! Oh!
The Australian government is partnering with the National Rugby League to establish the new Pacific Rugby League Championship. The inaugural Pacific Championship will feature women's and men's teams from Australia, Cook Islands, Fiji, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Samoa and Tonga. The Australian government is committing 15 million kina over the next 2 years so that 7 Pacific countries are included in the Pacific Rugby League Championships. Games will be played in Papua New Guinea and Fiji as well as Australia and New Zealand. These championships recognize a desire from Pacific Rugby League communities to increase elite-level competition played in the Pacific for Pacific audiences. The competition will deliver high-performance pathway for Pacific athletes, coaches, referees and administrators, and continue to build the viability of sports in the region. Games will be played in Australia, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea this year, with the 2023 tournament scheduled to take place from Saturday, October 14, 2023 to Sunday, 5th November 2023. Papua New Guinea, New Zealand and Australia will co-host the tournament this year, and Fiji will co-host the competition with Australia in 2024. Thanks for your company. Join us at 6 for more.